football.
The thing about it is this offense has regressed, and everybody from the quarterback to the head coach, this offense has regressed so much over the last 2 years that the Eagles are now in the same category as like the what's wrong with the Rams, what happened to the Falcons.
Yeah.
The only difference is at least they got a Super Bowl.
Well, right, yeah. Atlanta blew theirs.
So did the Rams.
So did the Rams, yeah.
Okay, so here's my question. We know right now the Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl in a very unique and, dare I say, flukish fashion.
Yeah, but we'll take it.
Oh, no.
I'm not
Listen,
giving it back.
This has nothing to do with anything about giving anything back.
I'm not apologizing for it.
No. But my question is, and I'm going to give you ahead of time, I think the answer is no, but I think we're at the point where I have to ask you this question before we get to Doug in a second here, which is, that year was clearly won in a flukish, non-consistent, you can't build on fashion.
So it was like a perfect storm.
Yes. Was Carson Wentz's season a flukish, perfect storm fashion?
I don't know. I mean, I'm starting to question that right now, and I think it's fair, because I don't know. Have we seen his best football?
Well, I'll tell you what.
That's a scary proposition.
We have as of yet that year. And I think that's why I at least ask you the question is, have we seen, or like, was that a flukish year for everybody, including the quarterback? But here's the biggest problem that I have, is even going into Miami, there is nobody that I trust to stop what's gone wrong or continuing to go wrong with Carson Wentz. And the NFL is the most heavily coached sport in the business. Nobody gets more coaching day to day, week to week than the NFL. And the quarterback's the most important position on the field, so it stands to reason that those guys are getting a ton of coaching. You've got position coach, you've got offensive coordinator, you've got head coach. There is a significant breakdown with stopping regression. The best coaches, at the very least, stop regression.
Right.
Sam Darnold is getting healthier and healthier, and you're starting to see...
He looked really good yesterday.
He looked great.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see a young quarterback with some coaching around him stop regression, being healthy, of course.
It's kind of like Goff, too. Goff and Wentz, both, the same draft class, are both regressing.
Significant.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. It's impossible to separate coaching and execution in LA. Why are people trying to do that here in Philadelphia? Meaning, Sean McVay's system is being figured out at the same exact time in which Jared Goff is regressing. Carson Wentz is regressing at the same exact time in which the Seahawks are calling out the plays before they're happening. Is that Carson Wentz? Now, Carson Wentz stunk. It was his worst football game of his career.
Yeah, and he deserves criticism.
And he'll get as much criticism as we get. But these things are, it's like a pretzel, man. It's the same dough. It's just knotted together.
It's
Now
it's not a bad analogy there. How long were you cooking that one up over the weekend?
It just popped in my brain right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna continue to use that.
That's not
now,
bad.
where the hell is this guy?
I don't know. I mean, maybe he doesn't want to talk to us today.
Didn't he end the press conference yesterday early?
I didn't watch it.
That was an embarrassment.
I couldn't get away from the Eagles fast enough.
That was an
yesterday.
embarrassment.
After that game, you get that garbage touchdown towards the end, and some people got excited, like maybe they can get the onside kick and score again. I was just like, there's no way. Seattle kind of stopped playing.
They did.
To me.
That touchdown came with 25
and shame on them.
seconds left.
I know, but I'm just saying like where's the pride of that defense to say, hey, we don't want to surrender a touchdown to this group.
I get it, man.
I didn't see any of that yesterday.
Well, I think first off, there are a couple things we can talk about. Carson Wentz is number one because he was the biggest reason why they lost that football game. That's the football game. If you want to ask why are we here where Carson has regressed, why are we here where Carson is now a liability more so when he's throwing the football the last couple of weeks than not, it's deep-rooted in the fact that guys that were helping him are no longer around him, and the guys that are here are simply incapable of stopping the regression.
Yeah, and I get the fact that his whole right side of his offensive line was out. I get the fact that his receiving core is decimated with injuries, but there were plays to be made yesterday.
Sure.
That's the thing. Even with these subpar weapons, or however we want to describe them, there were plays on that field that were there to be made. And he didn't make them. He didn't make enough of them.
He didn't make many at all, I don't think.
A handful.
That miss The only reason why I say it wasn't the worst is because somebody put this Mitchell Trubisky pass in my timeline.
Were you talking about the Sanders, his throw to Sanders?
Now, to be fair, Russell Wilson.
He had one shortly after.
Exactly
right.
Yeah. Equally as bad.
Seattle should have scored about 30 plus points in that game.
Yeah. So I feel okay. No, I'll tell you this. I feel good about the defense. I don't feel great. This was not the defensive performance we saw against Tom Brady in that Patriots offense. That was great.
Right.
This was, hey, a couple of things fell in your favor, and you took advantage of that.
No, they played well, but they didn't play well enough to be taking a selfie, where posing and flexing.
I knew.
The only thing better is Dwayne Haskins' selfie, where he didn't even make the final play of the game.
Okay, well, at least they were winning the game.
So self-absorbed.
At least they were winning the game. That's the biggest difference.
Flexing and doing a pose in the end zone. I mean, you're down 17-3. Come on.
I know.
That's a bad look.
That's a tough look to justify. I heard Rodney McLeod's cut afterwards saying that the stadium was dead, the fan base was dead, the team was dead, so it was their way of rejuvenating the crowd and whatnot.
How about can they rejuvenate the offense?
Well, that's
what's dead.
Correct.
It's not the fan base is not dead. The offense is dead.
So once again, we have this issue rising, and it's just the nature of the beast, man. Whenever you have a defense led by a guy like Jim Schwartz, who is basically a head coach of his own unit, and will play nice with others, let's be honest, it's an unfair moniker to say that, he's selfish and self-absorbed and all this. But I think what happens is, and it's just the nature of this game, man, when you have one side of the ball doing their job, and you aren't winning, you start to see it manifest in certain ways, and that's what I took away is that is the quintessential, and we saw this with not new Deshaun, but old Deshaun, back when Andy was here, where he'd have like 4 catches for 110 yards, a touchdown, and they'd lose, and he'd just be like, man, I don't know what to tell you, I did my job.
I did mine.
Right, I got mine, right? And everybody would be incensed, and now again, that's old Deshaun. But what I'm saying is that's what I got from it, Harry, was, man, we have a major schism where you have the mentality of, I did my job. And it's never going to switch as bad as this offense is.
Well, we got the coach. All right.
Sorry for keeping you waiting. Apologize for that. He's got a little bruise in his hand, kind of in the middle finger there. Day to day should be fine for the game.
Will he miss any practice on this week?
No.
I don't think that affects his throwing. I mean, it's his throwing hand, right? So
it's on his right hand. I mean, it's going to affect it a little bit. I mean, it's sore, being able to grip the football, but he battled through it and finished the game.
Talking to Jeff Stoutland after the break, he was saying that it wasn't just Brandon Brooks sometimes that goes through that anxiety. Other linemen do. What's been your experience as a player and maybe as a coach and seeing maybe teammates go through that? And how have you seen that?
Honestly, this is probably the first time that I've had experience or any experience with this type of thing. I know, I've seen guys back in my days in Green Bay that work themselves up for games and then go hit a trash can and they're out playing. But obviously, in Brandon's case, listen, this is real life for him, and this is serious, and he's something that he battles with, battles this every single day, and does a great job, managing that. And but for me personally, this is the first time to experience that.
Doug, KJ Wright said after the game that he was in the Seattle defense was able to identify some plays pre-snap. What do you make of that, and is there anything to maybe predictability setting in with the offense?
I mean, if he's referring to the one screen pass that we were going to throw to Dallas there, I mean that was the one. We had a couple other opportunities. We just didn't connect on the throw. I mean, there's this time of the year, there's a lot of film on us, a lot of film on them. You could probably say the same, defensively too, with everything that we watch. But he's a smart player. He studies, and that's the thing that we do. We do, as a staff, we try to self-scout ourselves every week, making sure that we're not getting predictable, with formations or personnel groups, things of that nature, and we police ourselves the best we can.
As you rewatched the game, Doug, did you see any sort of trends in the missed throws from Carson? Any mechanical things or anything like that?
No, I do know that because he got hit early in the game, that there were a couple times he just a little erratic, just be able to set your feet, and that comes with the extra contact. We pride ourselves with the offensive line, the backs, the tight ends, and hey, we try to keep our quarterback as clean as possible, especially early in a football game. It gives him into a flow. But as the game progressed, I mean, it just and again, watching the film this morning, if you remove the turnovers, it's really not as bad as it appears. The turnovers make it worse than it was, because we didn't capitalize, we didn't stay on the field. We had some drives and then turnovers stopped us. So those are the things we got to clean up.
There were seemingly some very simple throws that he missed. So, there's a little dump passes to Miles, almost overthrown by 5 yards. So could you explain how Carson didn't, throw a pass through the eye of the needle downfield, but yet on those short throws, he's missing wildly? Is it a case of the yips?
No, it's not the yips. I mean, there are times when it's just a matter of just setting your feet as a quarterback and just delivering a short throw, or getting your eyes on target a lot sooner than you do. He's such a great thrower of the ball down the field, and these are the things that we continue to work on with him, and we got to make sure Miles is in the right spot too. I mean, it goes both ways. So it's not always about the quarterback. We can coach that up, obviously, and we will. But we also got to get the other guys in the right spots as well.
As a follow-up to that, you said after the game, your statement was, our issues were not the quarterback. I know you like to protect your players, and it's not in your nature to call a guy out. But do you feel like when you watch the game, Carson wasn't a problem, or wasn't the problem?
It's not about one guy, honestly. Obviously, the quarterback and the head coach get all either the credit or the blame, right? And as a play caller, I mean, rightfully so, and I'll obviously take the heat for that. And the quarterback touches the ball every single snap, right? So, and so that's what we see, right? That's what you see. That's what the fans see. So we got to do as coaches, we got to make sure that we're continuing to coach and coach Carson correctly. We got to make sure that he's doing the right things, the progression, where the ball's going. And then it's up to him, too, to see the defense, see the field, and get the ball out of his hand as a player, and do all those things right. So we just got to continue to work, and everything's right in front of us.
The way he should be?
He is. Listen, I would love for you to stand back there and play quarterback in the National Football League and take some of the shots that these quarterbacks take. Look at the game last night. Aaron Rodgers is affected in the game because he's getting hit and knocked around off his spot. So it affects guys, and yet he's tough. He stands in there. He makes some great throws down the field. Doesn't shy away from that contact, and yet, obviously that's the position that gets the most criticism.
Trending the right way on Friday, and they didn't play. What changed between Friday and Sunday?
They're still trending in the right direction. They just weren't ready to go.
They couldn't play in that game?
No.
What's your plan for right tackle from now on and backing up lane if Lane can't go? Still try to.
Well, we'll still cross-train, Andre. We got, Big V. Obviously, Pryor filled in nice at right guard, but can also play some tackle. But we've got some options there that we continue to work with and get our guys ready to go.
Is there a chance you bring you can make some roster moves there?
I mean, there's always that possibility, I guess. But Mulatto's still sitting there that we could activate, obviously off the injury reserve. But those are all decisions that we'll have to make here in the near future.
Andre described moving from left to right in pretty negative terms. Did you get a sense?
What did he say?
He said that it was like learning how to write with your opposite hand, which most people probably can't do. So did you get a sense that mentally he wasn't ready for that job?
No, not at all. As the week progressed, I mean, he got so much better as the week progressed. And by the time we got to Friday, I mean, the Friday practice was great. He felt comfortable. The Saturday walkthrough, he was ready to go. That's why you just, again, you just can't take your left guy and go stick him on the right without taking practice reps, without preparing those guys, to do that. And he, he prepared well all week, and was ready to go.
As far as his concussion protocol?
Yeah, he's still in the protocol. But I'm optimistic that he could see the practice field on Wednesday this week. So.
How did you left tackle volunteered, I guess, to move over to the right tackle, I should say. He expressed that to you, and how do you feel about that being possible?
Yeah, no, again, that's Angelo had asked me that this morning, on the radio, and that's the first time I'd really heard about it. But that's who Jason Peters is. I mean, he's willing to give himself to the team, and if that's what it takes, I mean, we'll have discussions, but, hopefully we get Lane back, and we won't have to do that, and then we'll continue to work our backup guys in those situations.
Doug, how did JJ play, and what can he do to kind of increase his role when the other guys get back?
JJ?
Yeah.
I thought he did some good things. He's still learning, obviously. He's got to do a little better at the line of scrimmage with guys, on his nose, being able to release and things like that. But you saw the tough catch late in the game, obviously on the sideline. It's great to see, and some of the other things that he did. One good third down completion there, and then the fourth down play was just he and Carson really not being on the same page there. But those are things that they continue to work on. But he's done some really nice things these last couple of weeks, and it's encouraging, and we'll keep him coming.
So it's been a few weeks now that we've been hearing this message from you that the offense will improve, the offense will improve. We've been hearing it from the players as well. But why do you remain so confident? Why are you still so confident that maybe
because the offense will improve?
Yes, but we're not out there seeing all the practice that you're seeing. Correct. So what's happening behind the scenes that makes you believe that there will be a change?
I see the guys every single day paying attention to detail, which means they're spending time in the meeting room. They're spending time after practice watching extra tape on their own or with their position group. They're with our quarterback. They're on the side in practice working on route combinations, and to me that's a sign of getting better and improving. And I know sometimes it doesn't necessarily always translate over into the game like we all want it to, like I would like it to do, because the defense is obviously, they're good defenses that we're playing. So I see it every day. We do have some new faces, on offense that are playing, some young players that are getting valuable experience. And so for me, that's the encouraging part. Plus now with hopefully getting some of our veteran players back on offense, I feel like we can peak here at the right time. Listen, we're still in this thing. It's not like this season's over. Gosh, we got 5 games. We got a great opportunity this week in Miami. So that also gives you hope as you move forward.
What are your thoughts on the marriage of scheme and quarterback? What strengths have you identified with Carson, and how has the offense kind of been tailored to fit that?
His strengths, and what we do as an offense, sometimes you love concepts where you have half, I don't want to say full field concepts, but half field concepts where guys are, vertical concepts, for instance, down the field with maybe a third element coming into his vision. Those are all things that he's successful with. Obviously, the quick passing game, being able to throw slants, being able to throw the ball to the flat, the RPO game, he's very successful at that. And so those are the things that as we construct these game plans, we think about. Then we got to think about our personnel and what we have, obviously, that week going into the game, and try to have as many of those concepts, in that plan against that opponent.
You seem to have Miles on
like 10 to 12 carries seems to be the number you're most comfortable with. Is he a guy you would feel comfortable giving him 15, 18, 20 carries, especially with Jordan out? Physically, do you think he can handle that? And
I think he could. I think he could, and I think too in the passing game, with some of the things that we're trying to do and kind of get. We didn't do everything we worked on in practice with him last week in the game, but there's some things with, emptying him out in the backfield, emptying the backfield, and route combinations that are also part of his sort of his plan that didn't manifest in the game. So yeah, that I think. If you factor all that in, I think he would be right around that number.
The sentiment that Malcolm shared, was that this team needs to get comfortable winning 12-9 games, 9-6 games, he said, and finishing drives with kicks. Is that how you think this team needs to play, that they're going to be these low-scoring defensive games?
I think right now where we are, we held the Patriots to 17 and an explosive Seattle offense to 17. So if you're winning those games 20-17 right now, I would say that's good. At some point though, you're going to have to explode, and you're going to have to be 30 plus points a game. As you go down the stretch, especially if you get into the postseason against some of these other teams. But I think right now where we are, that's a realistic approach. That doesn't mean you go into conservative mode and it's 3 yards in a cloud of dust. But I do think that. Our offense, we talk all the time. We want to finish every drive with a possible kick, whether that's a punt or a field goal or an extra point. So, those are the things that we talk about. But right now, and the way our defense has been playing, I think you got to play to that strength.
What's your assessment been of Dallas Goedert in year 2?
Oh man, he's definitely been one of the bright spots. One of the positives on our offense. He's gotten so much better blocking at the point of attack. He's strong. His route running has gotten better. He's been strong to the football, when the ball comes his way. Utilized him in the screen game a little bit, has been successful this year. I just think he's just going to continue to grow, continue to get better. The more we use him, the more we, use him in space, obviously. But he's been a plus for us.
Fumbles and drop passes.
Oh, you were referring to that.
Well, I'm saying, he has had some untimely.
Oh, I was talking about the positive stuff.
I know that. That's why I looked at it with Eddie, but there have been some untimely fumbles.
There has been, and then those are things we got to correct. He knows that. Again, it's it goes back to it's not about one guy, but we'll address that with him. We did it during the game yesterday. We'll continue to talk to our team about it. He knows that. Gotta hang on the ball. Sorry, guys. Oh yeah, Jordan. Obviously with the stinger, he still hasn't regained full strength in his shoulder, so he's still day to day. He'll still do individual this week, and we'll see where he's at the end of the week. Thanks, guys.
There is Doug Peterson's Monday afternoon press conference. A little tardy.
A little bit.
Now, when you're as bad as you are, maybe that's a correlation, right? Maybe that's a correlation as far as why they can't get off to a good start in the first quarter. Maybe they show up late. Maybe they show up late to prep meetings.
Well, didn't Lane Johnson say something
That's
like
right.
that a few weeks ago?
And everybody
right?
was like, wait a second. We're not, remember guys on the defense were kind of looking around like, who's showing up late? Maybe it's the coaches. Maybe Mike Groh's showing up late.
Well, don't worry, because if you remove the turnovers, it's not as bad as it seems.
Thank you. Well,
Okay?
I appreciate that.
That was the gleaning nugget that I took.
That's not even a glass half full. That's a drop of water in a glass that's empty.
All right, speaking of glass half full, we got Temple's head coach coming up next. They had a loss in Cincinnati, just an ugly one with special teams. It was a winnable game, and an opportunity to maybe win the division is now gone.
All right, we'll talk to Rod Carey coming up next. Also, an update on the Gulf Coast Showcase.
Oh, jeez.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Hopefully you were up at 7:30 in the morning.
Aton Show, presented by Dry Guys of South Jersey. Go to dryguysonair.com and
Pause for
help
like
you
2
heat
seconds.
your wet basement. dryguysonair.com.
It's the Monday night countdown to kickoff. This and every Monday night with Mr. Monday Night, Tony Bruno. Mr. Monday Night is here from 6 to 8 p.m. Live from the landmark Americana in Glassboro. I'm excited for it. I'm ready for it. On 97.3 ESPN, 6 to 8 p.m. On 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Let's play some damn football. It's the Monday Night Football countdown to kickoff on 97.3 ESPN.
Are you tired of the same old, looking for an exciting new experience? Come join our friends at Bury the Hatchet. Take part in one of the fastest growing sports in the nation, axe throwing. Feel the thrill of axe throwing and compete against your friends and families in one of our 14 BYOB indoor facilities. Our axe masters will teach everyone how to stick it and keep your party moving with a variety of games like you've never experienced before. Birthday, bachelor, bachelorette party, corporate event, or just want a great time out with your friends, Bury the Hatchet will give you a night you'll never forget. Winter leagues are forming now, as well as our special Maze and Eights-on League for all you listeners. Bury the Hatchet is the East Coast premier axe throwing company with locations right in your backyard in Cherry Hill and Toms River, plus Philadelphia, then Salem, Horsham, and King of Prussia. Use our promo code HARRY50 for 50% off. Your first 2 hours will be 50% off. Just use our promo code HARRY50. Bury the Hatchet. Go to burythehatchet.com.
This football season, visit the Great American Pub, where you'll find good food, great times, and good football. Any way you like it. It all comes together at the Great American Pub. Catch the game at any of the 3 Great American Pub locations in Conshohocken, Wayne, and Phoenixville. Go to thegreatamericanpub.com. The Great American Pub, where good food, great times, and good football meet your weekends are covered from start to finish. The Great American Pub, the preferred location of the Maze and Eights-on Show. Make your next game out at the Great American Pub.
Does that make sense to you? So, is that them just jacking up the money line because they know they can't?
It's used to break down knots and
So I took a minus 1.5.
This massage is beneficial for athletes, those who
It was,
sit or stand for long periods of time.
I get this thing on the like I told you, the fantasy thing that I get. So they have a free service, a trial for the bets. So they send me bets, and I took the bets. They were good though, like over the weekend. They hit, Bucks first half, Seahawks first half, Jags total team points.
We've got 30 years
They're
under the
pretty
same
good.
name.
They don't just pour out picks.
This
You get like 2 picks maybe a
Look at
day.
their strengths. We excel
I don't
in
know if
indoor
that's
projects
normal or
like
not.
kitchens and baths, outdoor projects like siding,
Do you do
windows,
the,
and doors,
are you
even
on the
entire
Godfather
additions. We've introduced products for national manufacturers
not,
and won awards for our work. Look at who does the work. With VSP, the owner and the foreman of 23 years are always part of the team. Look for fair terms. VSP asks for no more money down than the law allows in this area. Our pricing is never the lowest and usually not the highest. We deliver great value for the money. Looking for a home improvement contractor who will produce what they promise? Look to VSP Home Remodeling. Call Kevin Kennedy at 215-364-3286 or email him at vsphome@verizon.net. Davio's Northern Italian Steakhouse is located on the 2nd floor of the historic Provident Bank Building in the heart of Philadelphia, near Rittenhouse. At Davio's, it's all about the guest. Davio's offers private dining rooms available for large and small groups. Gracious hospitality and an attendant dining room staff provide every guest an exceptional experience. At Davio's, it's all about the guest. Join us for a power lunch, happy hour, or Sunday brunch. At Davio's, it's all about the guest.
Covering Philadelphia and the suburbs with a tremendous history of great success in the real estate market, meet Kristen Thompson. A proud graduate of Villanova, Kristen has been in the real estate business for 20 years and specializes in buyers, sellers, and investors. You can call Kristen directly at the Keller Williams Realty Group, 215-429-2451, 215-429-2451. Kristen Thompson, your real estate advocate, who will work tirelessly on your behalf while ensuring the sale or the purchase is the easiest part of the process.
If you run a business in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Delaware, you're familiar with workers' comp insurance. Did you know Penn
Pennsylvania and New Jersey rates have dropped this year. Let Lighthouse Commercial Insurance help you take full advantage of the change. 25 years of experience in the market. They know the most reputable and the most aggressive carriers. Give my friend Kevin a call at 800-691-1686.
1 minute, Coach Carrier, go home.
1686 or visit them online at lighthouse.ins.biz. Welcome to 2 Street and welcome to Tollman Joe's. Tollman Joe's in the heart of South Philly is Tony Bruno's home on Eagles game day and your spot for free parking every Eagles game day. Get to
I didn't
Tollman
watch
Joe's
the game,
3
but
hours
how
before kickoff. 26
late
East
do those
Oregon Avenue. Hi, this is
13
Tony Bruno.
points
I'll see you on game day at
No, I know, but
Tollman
like,
Joe's.
end of the game, like out of reach.
Navy Federal Credit Union wants to help you accomplish your life missions. Driving away with a monthly car payment you can afford.
Going into the
We're a
fourth,
credit
and then
union, so we pass the savings on to our members in the form of low rates. We also provide up to 100% financing, pre-approval checks to bring to your seller, 24/7 account access, and live phone support. Plus, get an auto loan decision in 5 minutes or less. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Visit NavyFederal.org for details. Open to the Armed Forces, the DoD, veterans, and their families. Issued by NCUA.
This is Joe Krause of Krause's Coats inviting you to donate a slightly worn coat or jacket and help kids in need stay warm this winter. Go to Krause's Coats Facebook page. Happy holidays.
You're listening to Mays and Aton with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
All right, Mays and Aton, and of course we talk all things football on this show. And there's a big weekend of college football right around Thanksgiving coming up. We got the finale for Temple's regular season. Of course, they're going to go on and play in a bowl, but they have a chance to get to 8 wins in the regular season, and that's a big deal.
Pretty good chance.
They got UConn coming up, and they're 29-point favorites.
We don't put the cart before the horse here.
Right.
Our next guest would kill us if we did.
No, you're right.
It's pretty good chance.
Yeah, pretty good chance, but yeah, exactly. All right, let's go to the Lighthouse Insurance guest line and bring on Temple head football coach Rod Carey. Rod, how are you doing today?
Good, and you're right. I may not physically kill you, but I would verbally kill you for the cart before the horse.
We've learned our lesson.
Yeah, we'll get to that UConn game, but take us through Saturday night, and obviously a disappointing close loss to a really good football team on the road. Lousy weather. It was pretty much an ugly game, in a lot of different ways. But talk about how that one slipped away Saturday night.
Yeah, well, I think you're right on how you're saying it there. You come back yesterday and you get going and you feel like you let that one slip away because you had opportunity after opportunity, and certainly just needed to make one less mistake. And we had enough of them in there. If we would have just made one less, we feel like we could have gotten that win, but we didn't. You say ugly game from that standpoint. I think. Our defense played the lights out. I just don't think the offense did quite enough. Obviously, the kicking game hurt us. So, to me, it was a beautiful thing on defense. It was ugly everywhere.
True, fair point.
So, how do you look at now? I know it's one game left with UConn, but just in general, a game like Saturday where you come back, you make it a game in the fourth quarter. But you don't want to overlook, as much as there might be momentum, and not anything about a moral victory, Coach, but I'm just saying momentum. And you still want to balance it, because I imagine that there were a couple of mistakes that jump out in the first half, first quarter, where you might have avoided having to come back and make it a game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the obvious things that everyone looks at is the missed extra point that they ran back for 2, and then the missed field goal early. And no doubt those would make a kick, and we probably have a different outcome. But there are plenty of things from kicking out bounds earlier in the kicking game, to wide open guys that we missed earlier in the game. So there were a ton of things that certainly felt like we had our option, to get that executed, and then it's different. The whole complexion of the game is probably different then.
Yeah, the special teams have really kind of been an issue all season long. Really haven't gotten much out of your punt return game, your kick return games, and of course the issues with punting and field goals and so forth. How does that get fixed for next season? I doubt that gets fixed for next week.
Yeah, well, early on we had punt snap issue and had some nice returns, and then got the punt figured out, and we're really playing very well in the punt game. And minus the, we had a low snap again in this game where he had to go down and take it and grab it, and his knee was on the ground. But, the return game certainly has been disappointing. Felt like we were playing better until the last 2 weeks in the kick game. And then last 2 weeks, it just, we just got to keep doing it. It's repetition. It's not somewhere I got some magic pixie dust I can wave over them. It's, we just got to keep grinding it out and getting better. We're certainly going to do that this week as well.
All right, let's put UConn aside here and just assume, because I'm not going to go down that even risk putting any cart ahead of horse here, but let's just say there's no UConn game on Saturday. The regular season, ended with the Cincinnati loss. Still, a hell of a season that you had. What's the biggest thing, biggest positive you take away here at Temple this year?
Well, I love the way that these kids compete and the transition that we've done, and I love everything about it. So the positive to me is how the team has stuck together and we played. And guys, we already have only the 20th winning season in Temple history, and if we get this one on Saturday, it'll only be the 5th time ever that a Temple team has won 8 games. And so there's a ton of positives right ahead of us to play for, and so far already.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then, of course, a bowl after that, which could get you to 9. Talk about your seniors. Obviously, this Saturday is Senior Day at the Link, and you can get tickets at alstix.com. But talk about these seniors. Obviously, you didn't recruit them, but you've now had the last year to coach them.
Yeah, well, 2 things on that is that they made this transition seamless. And they've been through a lot now, a ton. 4 head coaches, really, if you count Manny in there. So for them to welcome us as a staff in really made the transition go. And then what they've accomplished through all that transition, quite frankly, I don't know of another senior class that could have done that, because they're good football players, but they're really good men too. And really, my biggest regret from this season is I don't got more time for them. I wish I had them all back for another couple seasons.
Absolutely. All right, so as far as Saturday is concerned, there's not going to be, we're not concerned. I know you approach every opponent the same way, looking at strengths and weaknesses and how to get over on that. What's the big, outside of just coming in and dominating UConn, which a lot of us on the outside expect to happen, what are you looking to either improve or work on specifically with that opponent?
Well, every week is a 1-week season, like 1-week lives, we call them. So, I'm looking at a UConn team that really, I know they have not won a game in conference yet, but they're playing a lot better as the season's gone on. They've improved. So, for us, it's just going to be consistency in all 3 phases. Like I said, our defense has been playing well. Our offense at times has been playing well, and kicking game at times has been playing well. We need to put it all together for 4 quarters. And that is really what our focus is this week.
Well, yeah, no, UConn is playing better. They had the lead in the 4th quarter on Saturday against ECU, which is something that I don't think they've been able to say too much this season.
Yeah, no, they have. They had the lead this last weekend. They played Houston right down to the wire, a couple other really good football teams right down to the wire, and they're improving when you look at it on film. So it has our full attention, I can tell you that.
All right, 3:30 on Saturday at the Link, alstix.com for tickets, and of course it's Senior Day and the last home game of the season. So no conference championship possibilities. Then you'll just be getting ready for whatever bowl. Any preferences?
I don't personally have any preferences. I know a lot of people do. I just am appreciative for the bowl games and the practices and how they set their program up. And obviously, we'd like to go somewhere warm.
Wow, right.
Even for my bald head, I'd like to go get a sunburn probably.
Yeah, come on. You got to be used to the cold here, right? You're coming from a place much colder than this.
Yeah, just used to it doesn't mean we like it. Right?
That's true.
Fair enough.
That's true. I'm used to it, and I hate it. I can tell you that.
Take us, if you go somewhere warm, we'll pay our own way. Just take us with you, will you?
Hey, just get on the plane, man. Come on, let's go.
But the greatest thing about it is the 14 or 15 extra days of practice, right?
Yeah, that is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Hey, people don't, that's one of those boring little things that coaches talk about all the time.
But it's
we
big.
do. But they set up your programs going forward. Those practices are huge.
All right, Coach. We appreciate a couple minutes. Best of luck against UConn, and we'll talk to you before the bowl game.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, boys.
There he is, Rod Carey on the Lighthouse Insurance guest line. Have your renewals been increasing over the years? Well, when was the last time you actually looked and reviewed your commercial insurance coverages? You got to do it with an expert. You got to call managing partner Kevin McAdams at Lighthouse right now, 800-691-1686, or online at lighthouse.ins.biz.
All right, 609-403-0973 is the text for it. We're going to hit some texts coming up. We got a lot of people who have weighed in already on the Twitch channel, Mays and Aton. We're live on all 4 platforms.
Oh, is it popping today?
It is. Twitch, Mays and Aton, Harry Mays, TU on Periscope, my Shander Facebook page, and our Derailed YouTube page. So we're up everywhere. Of course, 973ESPN.com/app is how you can download and listen if you're beyond the radio listening area. So we've got a lot, man. This is 12:41 right now, and I don't feel like we really have dived into anything.
No.
Because we have had 2 coaches back to back.
Right.
Thankfully, we had Rod Carey to kind of balance out the first coach, which probably left a sour taste in people's mouths.
Well, we'll dive into the Eagles full force in the next segment. Back after this.
Listen to Mays and Aton anywhere. You serious, Tony? Download the 97.3 ESPN mobile app now. 973ESPN.com/app. Coming up on the next edition of the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Coming up, we'll look back at the Eagles and Seahawks. We'll have Breaks and Trades at 2:30. Football at 4 with Johnny Mack. And NFL insider Casey Joyner gives us one thought on every Week 12 game at 5:15. Plus, we'll look back at the Sixers and the big college football weekend.
The Sports Bash, weekdays from 2 to 6 on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
I am so ready for football season, are you? You better be college with a huge day on Saturday, pro football on Sunday. Make sure you bet with the best. My guys at the #1 casino in Pennsylvania, Parks Casino and Sportsbook. My guys at Parks Casino and Sportsbook have it all in person or online. Download the Parks Casino Sportsbook app right now in the App Store. Go to parkscasino.com/PA. Use promo code SWEEP, 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 to get a risk-free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit. ParksCasino.com/PA. Again, PARX Casino.com/PA, and use promo code SWEEP to get your risk-free bet of up to $250. Parks Casino and Sportsbook. My guys, they should be the guys you trust as well. Place all your favorite sports bets, point spreads, money lines, even line, in-game betting. Sign up now, get a risk-free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit. Promo code SWEEP. Get your risk-free bet of up to $250. Risk-free bet is refunded on the losses of the bet. Must be in Pennsylvania. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Caring is help when you need it most. And sometimes that means giving you more control over your decisions. The Care Cost Estimator from Independence Blue Cross helps you make the choices that are right for you. It's just one more way we are helping members throughout the Philadelphia region make better, more informed healthcare choices. Because we believe caring is help when you need it most. Independence Blue Cross. Learn more at IBX.com.
There are so many choices when it comes to selecting the right financial institution. Start with the Philadelphia Federal Credit Union. We're right here in your city. We're also the official credit union of Temple University, and anyone who lives, works, worships, and studies in Philadelphia can open an account. We're member-owned and offer all the services you're looking for, like mobile banking and free ATM withdrawals. Visit our website at pfcu.com. We're not here for our profit, here for yours. Federally insured by NCUA.
Davio's Northern Italian Steakhouse is located on the 2nd floor of the historic Provident Bank Building in the heart of Philadelphia, near Rittenhouse. At Davio's, it's all about the guest. Davio's offers private dining rooms available for large and small groups. Gracious hospitality and an attendant dining room staff provide every guest an exceptional experience. At Davio's, it's all about the guest. Join us for a power lunch, happy hour, or Sunday brunch. At Davio's, it's all about the guest.
If you're a golfer looking to pick up a few strokes on the golf course, you should add these 4 words into your training and lifestyle. Traditional, Thai, yoga, massage. A Thai massage is relaxing and energizing without oil and designed to increase your flexibility. Try it now. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including a better score. Call us Thai Massage.
Is Hunter there too?
215-663-9376.
Oh, is Hunter even available?
663-9376.
I don't know what Hunter's school schedule
They aim to heal.
Just wondered if you guys wanted to do the show on Friday. Eitan has an opportunity to run up to Massachusetts to see his dad.
I thought you guys were doing a show with you. You had some fun.
Well, yeah, right, we're trying to rearrange parts, but even if that can't happen.
The most aggressive carriers. Well, the thing is, I'm going to be here on Friday no matter what.
Right, I guess we gotta figure out what Hunter's doing.
Visit him online at whitehouseinns.biz.
This football season, visit the Great American Pub.
We only have live programming until 4 o'clock anyway on Friday.
So when?
Any way you like it. It all comes together at the Great American Pub. Catch the game at any of the 3 Great American Pub locations in Conshohocken, Wayne, and Phoenixville. Go to the Great
So whether
American
it's you
Pub.
guys or hiring me, filling in, or whatever is going to be done, it's, you know, we got to be here
Your
anyway.
weekends
So.
are covered from start to finish. The Great American Pub, the preferred location of the Maze and Eitan Show. Make your next game out at the Great American Pub.
Think of all the things you could do for those you love if you won the $226 million Mega Millions jackpot. Like fly your entire family to a villa in the south of France. And maybe throw in a separate chateau for the in-laws. So take a chance on Mega Millions. After all, anything can happen in Jersey.
Kara, it's time to join a tradition that's been passed down from generation to generation of cruise women.
Black Friday at JCPenney! Grandma's already in the car.
Get to JCPenney by 2 p.m. Thursday for a chance at a 10
All right,
off
Hunter
10,
can do it.
100 off 100, or even a 500 off 500
So that's on
coupon giveaway.
available.
Get $20 off diamond jewelry and select family boots for $19.99.
Why don't you press Baldini on
Offers
that?
and coupon valid 11/28 to 11/30. Giveaway on 11/28 only. Valid in store only while supplies last.
Just say that, you know, we won't be available on Friday to do the show.
A new law helps
Come out
survivors of
Tuesday,
childhood
or should
sexual
we
abuse
just
take legal action.
roll it over?
Jeff Anderson and Associates and attorney Greg Gianfrancaro can help. Visit itstimennewjersey.com or call confidentially today 1-800-8-TIME.
Well, I mean, maybe he can't do Tuesday. You might have somebody else there.
08865.
During the day. I don't know.
Inviting you to donate a slightly worn coat. Are you doing Bury the Hatchet on Wednesday?
Yes.
Stay warm this winter. Go to Krause's Coats on Facebook and join Martin Law, the law firm for. I thought so. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to assume that. Have a happy holiday.
This is Mays and Eitan with Harry Mays and Eitan Shander on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
All right, busy first hour here with a lot of other things going on besides people interacting.
Busy week, too, for us. Yeah, the holiday, and of course, Wednesday we'll be out and about at Bury the Hatchet.
In Horsham.
Right?
Yes, so...
There's no show for us Thursday.
Correct. So what we'll do is we'll be here in Horsham, and we have a bunch of things going on. It's 430 Carradine Drive. Caredean. So it's 430 Carradine Drive in Horsham, PA. We'll be there again noon to 2. And we've got a couple of things going on. So first off, we have this promo running. Like our buddy Mike in Turnersville, who constantly texts us and is a great interactor with the show, came by and exercised the Harry 50 promo.
Right.
Where he got half off the throwing, right?
A 2-hour session.
Correct.
Yeah.
So anybody out there, no matter where you are, no matter what Bury the Hatchet location you're closest to, you can exercise that promo, and we maintain. This is the last week you do it. We're going to have new stuff going on throughout the next couple of weeks, but the Harry 50 promo is kind of designed just to get you in there.
Right.
So if you've never exactly, and that's what we're doing. We'll get you in.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never thrown before, if you're interested, if your wife or husband thought, I want to do it, but we don't have the time, Harry 50 is your way to get half off your first 2 hours. And as we mentioned, you can do a lot of damage there. Now, the other thing we're doing real quick is our Maze and Eitan League. Mm-hmm. We're starting to get people, we want to get you in.
It's a virtual league.
It is a virtual league. You don't need to be in PA or Jersey specifically. Wherever you are, if you're close to a Bury the Hatchet, Toms River, Cherry Hill, Ben Salem, King of Prussia, South Philly, wherever, you go to your local Bury the Hatchet, you throw, and you can use our promo code, you throw, and
Harry 50.
Harry 50, and your score gets put up there. We're going to have some great big prizes, Sixers, Eagles related stuff, Bury the Hatchet. We'll have some things there as well. So it's just like a regular league, and we showed people last week how easy it is to do a round. It's like you throw, I throw, you throw, I throw, switch axes. It's simple. It's easy, and we invite anybody and everybody to be a part of this thing because it'll be a lot of fun. And here's the thing. Post your scores. Have somebody that you're throwing take video of you. If you're nasty, we want all the bragging rights out there.
Oh, yeah.
We want you to talk trash.
Because I absolutely suck.
That's all right. You're getting used to it.
Yeah.
You're getting used to it. Now, we're going to hit the text board and everything. Do you want the backstory behind this Northeastern game or no?
No.
You sure?
Nobody cares.
I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of in-game action placed on this game here. No. The Gulf Coast Showcase.
I was in-gaming the under yesterday in the Patriots game.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a beauty.
So I hit the under in that and the over. I in-game both afternoon games. Hit the under 40.5 in the Patriots, and the over was at like 33.5 because it's still low.
Right, I took an under on that game, and then all of a
game.
sudden Derrick Henry explodes
for
all these big runs. I'm like, man, my God, that game just exploded.
So I have Northeastern minus 1.5 right now. They trail South Alabama.
You need
49-48.
You need help.
It's the play of the day.
Yeah.
It is the play. We need imaging. Play of the day.
Nobody has cared about Northeastern basketball since Reggie Lewis was there.
Oh, that's a good pull.
Okay.
Who else went to Northeastern?
Well, Jim Calhoun was the coach there a long
but
time
not
ago
when
UConn.
Right, not when.
Not when Reggie Lewis.
When Reggie Lewis was there.
Reggie Lewis was like mid-'80s, I want to say.
Didn't Ramil Robinson in Michigan, didn't they play like a really good Northeastern team?
I'm not sure.
I thought they might have went up against a pretty good Northeastern team. All right, what do you want to hit first? The Twitch board, the Maze, and 8 times?
Whichever one's better.
Or the text board? I don't know. I'm doing this on the fly. The Eagles, the last 2 weeks, or reminding me of the Buddy, I think, reminding me of the Buddy Ryan Eagles, stout defense, garbage offense. Here's the thing, they're way more talented back then.
Yeah.
Than they
on
are
offense.
now. On offense.
Yeah. But
that's only because Buddy didn't know what the hell he was doing.
No, that's Buddy was just like telling Randall Cunningham, just go make a couple of plays. Yeah. That's basically it.
Let's do it. Go out there. And Randall's like, you want to give me somebody at the roto? Maybe we can call some plays out here. Buddy's like, I'm not interested in calling plays on offense. That's the problem is here, you actually have people that are invested in calling plays and game planning, and it's awful.
All right, now what is the thing that concerns you most about Wentz? Because I'm really starting to worry. Because he's so loose with the football. He's starting to, and to me, he doesn't see open receivers. There were situations yesterday, pointed out on Twitter with still shots and so forth, where he's trying to force the ball into Jordan Matthews. That last interception that he threw, he was not open.
No.
And I get you try to throw guys open. Jordan Matthews isn't a guy that you're going to be able to throw open, to me. And he missed Ward, was wide open on the right side of the field.
There was a bad
so he's starting to, things like that are really concerning to me. And the fact that he just is so loose with the football, the fumbling. I don't. What was that play they were trying to do that got blown up at the mesh point?
With the fake sweep?
I don't know what it was. Him and Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
He was trying to. The fumble was,
off Sanders on the handoff.
It was off. It counts towards Wentz. It was kind of on both. What play was that?
I don't know.
That didn't look like anything I've seen before.
No, and that's the thing is...
And I don't want to see it again.
Right, especially if you can't hold on to the football and you're running crazy, quirky stuff that requires basic concentration to execute. I think the thing that concerns me the most about Carson Wentz right now is that he's in a tailspin, and I don't know how he or the people around him pull out. It's like...
He tried to make a couple plays with his legs yesterday, which is something
which
we were looking for. Okay, so I like that.
Now, Doug Peterson said something yesterday that I thought was right on the money as far as what is really going wrong with Carson Wentz. And I think that's a reason why we saw a lot of turnovers yesterday. He's trying to do everything all at once, and he's trying to win these games like one throw at a time.
It seems like everything is sped up for him right now. Do you get that feeling just watching him?
Like he's going too fast?
Well, yeah, either that or the game is things that he's seeing are going too fast, and he can't slow it down.
I think he's trying to take on too much because it's not a full, complete team. Where he does, I don't know. There's just, if it's no trust with the people around him, and that's not always warranted.
But how does that make you airmail a wide open Miles Sanders?
Because he's
in the
pressing.
red zone?
He's pressing everything. That's the problem, is that he's trying to do everything all on himself, and he's pressing. Doug Peterson even said it. Doug never takes a shot or rips or anything. I think that was just the honest assessment. It is a big game tonight, but we can't focus on anything else.
We've got a whole other hour to go, man.
This football season, visit the Great American Pub, where you'll find good food, great times, and good football. Any way you like it. It all comes together at the Great American Pub. Catch the game at any of the 3 Great American Pub locations in Conshohocken, Wayne, and Phoenixville. Go to thegreatamericanpub.com. The Great American Pub, where good food, great times, and good football mean your weekends are covered from start to finish. The Great American Pub, the preferred location of the Maze and Aton Show. Make your next game out at the Great American Pub.
Wet basement or nasty crawl space? Dry Guys is your answer for basement, crawl space, and foundation problems. They have over 30 patented products, including unique insulation packages and great warranties, too. Family-owned Dry Guys has been providing peace of mind for over 30 years to homeowners just like you. So what are you waiting for? Call 844-470-4808, 844-470-4808, or visit DryGuysOnAir.com. Take the first step. You'll be glad you did. Go to DryGuysOnAir.com.
Heard it work? Go right now to InjuredWorkers.com. When you're injured on the job, your family is injured as well. Turn to a firm of legal attorneys that can help, that care, and that you can count on. Go to InjuredWorkers.com from Malamut and Associates. Nobody plans to get injured. When it happens, you need InjuredWorkers.com. Get the help you need from InjuredWorkers.com. Go to InjuredWorkers.com right now.
Get to the Landmark Americana in the heart of Glassboro for what will be a great football experience, a great nightlife experience, or anything you want it to be experience. The Landmark Americana. It's the Monday night home of Bruno, Aton, and McMullen. Presented by Corona and South Jersey's football home every Eagles game day. Landmark Americana. You'll know it when you get there, and you'll always remember it when you leave. Go to the Landmark Americana in Glassboro this football season. Who knows who you'll see?
Health Update with Robin Stoloff, brought to you by the Wound Care Clinic of South Jersey and Jersey Shore Medical Alliance.
One of the biggest obstacles in achieving a goal is not having a specific plan to make it a reality. There's a great acronym that you might have heard me mention before. It's called SMART. Make your goals specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-sensitive. Let's use the example of losing weight. First of all, decide how much weight you want to lose. Say it's 30 pounds. That's specific and measurable. Now you want to make it attainable by breaking it down into small pieces, say 10 pounds. It should be relevant and important to your life. That means you should know why you want to lose weight. And finally, it should be time sensitive. You probably won't lose 30 pounds in a month, but it's certainly doable over 6 months. Be sure to write it all down and keep it where you can see it. By following the SMART Goal formula, we can make our goals a reality. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Brought to you by the Wound Care Clinic of South Jersey, expert care with a compassionate touch, and Jersey Shore Medical Alliance Sports Medicine and Aesthetics.
The conclusion of NFL Week 12 is tonight, and joining us live,
2 minutes.
LA Memorial Coliseum for the Ravens at Rams. It is Larry Roth with the Sports Plus Network. Larry, how you doing today?
Hey, Josh, doing great. Coming off of another free winner. Those who took us up on our free offer and called on Thursday won. The people who took us up on our free offer on Monday won. People, I'm not making this up. We are winning like this. It's never too late to win. Tonight, Baltimore and LA. Big matchup, big Monday night game going. Baltimore beating everybody. Rams are at home coming off of that win against Chicago. We will give you the free winner tonight. We love the matchup. Call us now at 888-895-6555. 888-895-6555. It's as simple as pick up the phone, make the call, be on the winning side tonight. Stop doing this on your own. It's nice to win, and we can win for you. Call now, free winner, 888-895-6555.
Audible for Autism is a non-profit organization serving the autistic community of Philadelphia and the Delaware Valley. It is our
pleasure and honor to partner with Audible for Autism and their fantastic program.
Join them every football season as they team up with some of the area's best football programs, including Ron Jaworski and the Philadelphia Soul.
I'm going to get down there and get my team all fired up and motivated. I've donned the old number 7 jersey to get this crowd fired up.
To provide a platform for children on the spectrum and their families to have a life-changing and unforgettable experience.
Let's start getting excited. It's showtime.
Audible for Autism provides an innovative game day immersion program, providing individuals the opportunity to participate in every aspect of a live football game. To donate and for more information, go to audibleforautism.org. Audible for Autism, changing children's lives one touchdown at a time. audibleforautism.org.
South Jersey's play-by-play home for the 76ers. WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. The Jacob Media Sports Network, in partnership with 97.3 ESPN, brings you the Mays and Aton Show.
Middays with Harry Mays and Aton Shander.
Now, it's the Midday Show with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN Radio.
All right, I wanted to begin this second hour. I don't know if you saw this tweet, but a couple of people that I don't follow, so it's now been repurposed into the timeline. Actually, Anthony Sanfilippo is the one. Now that we both follow him.
Oh, Antsan?
Yeah. So at Antsan Philly retweeted this into my timeline. I'm sure yours as well. So it started with a beat reporter who tweeted out, and I guess this beat reporter is known for being anti-Wentz. I don't know.
Yeah, he
I
is.
don't know.
Yeah.
This play shows perfectly why Wentz is struggling right now, breaking down in his mind the interception to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, the ball that got picked off. It was a horrible pass, right? So Bryce Treggs quotes the tweet.
Okay.
Right? And look, I know Bryce Treggs isn't a dominant wide receiver in the NFL, but he played the position, and I think that there's a nuance here that gets lost a lot, and I'll give you an example following this. But Bryce responds in the quote, "The sit point on a crossing route is 2 yards outside of the hash where JJ begins to sit down. Instead of sitting down and setting a definitive target for the quarterback, JJ takes an extra hop outside, and that makes the throw inaccurate." Now,
Okay, yeah, they didn't look like they were on the same page there.
not at all.
And you could see even afterwards on the sideline, Wentz went over to him. They had a little discussion,
Yep.
and I guess...
That's the biggest problem you have with brand new wide receivers in the NFL, especially guys that are struggling, is the timing.
Yeah,
and
the landmarks.
Yes.
Everything's got to be at this, in the same spot.
I don't retain much, but there was one thing, the biggest thing I retained from working with Amani Toomer was how much the wide receiver plays a role in a bad pass / interception. And I remember this was either Chip's first or second year, and we were watching Eli Manning on like a Thursday or Monday night football game, Harry. Turn the football over maybe 5 times. It was a brutal performance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting there laughing my ass off. He sucks, he sucks, he sucks. So we're now Amani's just using the TV, and he's like, look, dude, he broke right. He was supposed to break left.
Right.
Like, it's that simple.
Yeah.
Now think about this. It's a little more intricate.
Well, yeah, you're thrown to a spot
Exactly.
in that situation. If the receiver goes the opposite way, guess who's going to be there?
Correct.
A defensive back, most likely.
Correct.
Right?
Now, this is not absolving Carson Wentz,
No.
but what it's showing you is that there is a major disconnect between position player and quarterback when throwing the football, probably more often than not. That goes back to who's correcting this.
Yeah, because you listen to the head coach, he's saying everybody looks great in practice all week. Oh, so-and-so had a great week of practice. You look great on Friday. Like,
you know what that sounds like to me? Who does that sound like?
Chip?
Nope. We just went through it. We just spent months going through watching a team get beat 8-1, giving up a home run in the 7th inning.
Oh, they'll fill it. Yeah.
And the manager saying, "What's wrong with you? Everything's fine here.
Right.
It must be on you and the way you interpret the game."
Right, yeah.
I mean, it sounds
I forgot
like,
about him.
It sounds like Gabe Kapler, Harry.
I forgot about him.
Look, I get Doug Peterson is a good coach, and I'm not here to tell you that Doug Peterson should be on the hot seat or Doug Peterson should be looking behind his back or that this is Jim Schwartz's team, any nonsense like that. But when you start telling us, we're watching the game, when you start telling us that what we saw, straight up, what we saw is not good or is good football, and outside of a couple of small mistakes, you should be okay, if not feel good about what you saw. You're on Gabe Kapler's level.
Well, that's like saying if you remove the turnovers, it's not as bad as it seems. I mean,
right.
How can you remove the turnovers? You can't.
It's impossible. No, it's impossible to do that. You can't. The turnovers are what lost you the football game. It wasn't missing Miles Sanders. It's that.
You know, it's like going back to Rod Carey. Okay, you know, if he came on and said, well, if we remove all the special teams miscues, we win the game. Okay, but you can't. Like, yeah, that's why you lost the game. You know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean. And I think that if you were to say, hey, man, Carson Wentz makes a couple of throws, or Nelson Aguilar makes a catch, or Dallas Goedert doesn't fumble, you start to get to that road of, you know, it might have changed the outcome of the game, but these are fundamental issues. You can't fumble the ball as much as Carson Wentz does and just excuse it away and say, well, don't worry, they'll be okay moving forward because they take on the Dolphins.
We'll clean that up next week.
Right.
We'll clean that up in practice.
They haven't been able to clean up the first half or the first quarter specifically since Frank Reich and DiFilippo left, and you want to add even more insult to injury. Those are the guys who would be working with Carson Wentz. Look, I'll leave it like this. For the people that don't think that coaching is a major reason, it's a reason. It's not the end. Like, it's a symptom. It's not the result. The result is what we saw on the field the last couple of weeks with Carson Wentz not looking like a good quarterback. But the symptom of that is the coaching and the inability to fix it. You better fix the people around Carson Wentz before you start fixing Carson, Harry, because otherwise, if you come back with everybody that's intact, you're basically asking for trouble.
Well, they're not. I mean, you gotta figure that the offensive coordinator gets zipped, right?
I think you have to bring in somebody who can work with Carson Wentz, and maybe you bring in somebody like a QB coach.
That's the number one priority.
Yeah.
It really, as far as non-player oriented, as far as acquisitions of players, that's the top priority.
Yep, I agree. I'll tell you the other thing I'm concerned about.
And hope Schwartz doesn't get a job as a head coach.
If Jim Schwartz gets a job next year, you're going to have to reset the defense. You're going to have to look at personnel. You're going to have to look at guys on the team that are set to make money, and you're going to ask, well, who's the new DC coming in? Are they running the same system? Michael Kendricks was not a great fit for this particular defense.
Right.
So you want to mention L.J. Fort until the cows come home, go ahead. They blew that. All right? But they specifically moved on from Michael Kendricks because he wasn't a good fit for what Jim Schwartz wanted to do. That's my point, is that if you reset it to what you're saying,
right, you might
that's double the issue.
Significant personnel changes then, depending on what coordinator you bring in.
I think Carson Wentz has had a new coordinator every single year, right? Or at the very least, quarterback's coach, coordinator every year. It's one of the two.
I don't even know who the quarterback's coach is.
There is such an issue right now.
Press Taylor.
There's such an issue right now with regression. And I think the Eagles put way too much stock in Doug Peterson being the next Bill Belichick.
Right, where he could sort of do it all himself.
Yep.
And, and sort of, lose coaches year after year after year and still maintain the sense, the consistency.
I don't know how else you look at this. Carson Wentz played the worst game of his career, and I don't even think it was close. Like, I don't even think it's close to say Carson Wentz played the worst game of his career. And you know what? Carson didn't look great the week before either.
No, I tell you, he looks like kind of stiff to me in a lot of ways. Like, there's not a lot of fluidity to his movements in the pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Is it when he's stuck in the pocket?
Yeah, well, that's when yes. Like, sort of moving around. And it's just, I don't know. It's just... Nothing seems very fluid.
No, and I don't know how that changes just because Deshaun Jackson's healthy.
Yeah, I know.
Or just because Nelson Aguilar's healthy.
Yeah.
It's going to make this team a little bit better, but...
Can you imagine if Clowney had played yesterday?
No, well, it would have been even worse. I guess Andre Dillard wouldn't have been pulled in the second quarter. I guess he would have been pulled in, like, the first quarter.
Well, that's another undersold happening, too. I mean, your number one draft pick, who, when we heard earlier in the week when he was describing what it was like to move from left to right tackle. We immediately put up the red flags. Like, that is not good. That's not a good thing to say or to admit to the public, right?
No, you can't.
It's kind of like Darnold saying he's seeing ghosts. Like,
Right.
there's certain things you really.
Or Holland saying, I don't like offense.
Right, yeah, I prefer special teams.
Right, when by default you're now the number 2 wideout on the team.
Jeez.
But you're right, it was, he mentioned, and the analogy was, hey, imagine writing with your right hand all your life, and then you have to write a major term paper with your left. I would take it even further and say, imagine you've been writing in English all your life, and overnight you have to now write it in Mandarin Chinese.
Another language. Yeah.
But like not Spanish or French or another.
Okay, a really difficult language.
With different characters and everything, because that's what it looked like out there.
Yeah.
It looked like the guy was brand new to the game, and I know that's unfair to an extent, but this is not J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Harry. This is a guy who has been out there this year. Mm-hmm. This is a guy in Andre Dillard who has been playing.
And played some good games too.
At times, yes. You know? At times, yes, but you can't have Andre Dillard tipping things off on film. You can't have Carson Wentz major regression in front of our eyes and no injury to blame. You can't have the Seahawks defense calling out the plays before they happened and not be concerned royally, Harry, with the coaching. I don't know how that correlation doesn't happen. Look, we can bitch all we want about Carson Wentz and about his bad decision making, which is accurate and should be brought up, but it doesn't fix it. How do you fix it? How do you fix Carson Wentz right now moving forward? That's probably the simplest. Maybe we should tweet that out.
I have no idea. I mean, I'd like to see a full complement of players supporting him. You know, I can't make any rash judgments on the quarterback right now. I just didn't like what I saw yesterday, and he missed a bunch of plays. He missed a bunch of throws to whomever. You know, you can say, well, you know, it wasn't his regular complement of wide receiver. Yeah, but some of them were open, and he missed them, and that's what concerns me.
Wide open,
right?
Wide open, absolutely
right.
Wide open. You needed DK Metcalf to put the ball on the carpet.
Yeah, he didn't have a good game yesterday.
You needed Chris Carson to fumble twice.
Right.
Russell Wilson didn't play
consecutive plays, didn't he?
Unbelievable.
Carson,
no wonder why they went to Penny.
It was a bad day for Carson's yesterday. Chris Carson and Carson Wentz.
And here's the thing. Russell Wilson didn't play great.
No.
But it's hard for me to put that on the defense entirely. And say, Russell Wilson missed throws that an MVP candidate would never miss.
How about that play Malik Turner made on the touchdown?
The
wide receiver.
Yeah.
The route, the way
touchdown.
he ran that route. I mean, I know they detailed it really well on television when they came back from break. Charles Davis really broke it down nicely, but that was a really nice play. I mean, 2 weeks in a row now they've been victim of trick plays.
Yeah, I know it. Julian Edelman the first time, and then the flea flicker.
But also the way he tracked the ball was really impressive in the end zone. That was one of those.
Was it impressive, or are you just used to seeing people that can't track football?
Well, no, but both. But I'm just saying, nobody on the Eagles roster would have been able to make that play, in my view.
Only Deshaun.
Maybe Deshaun.
Yeah. No, I get it. And this is what I've always been saying, too, because for years people were like, they can't win anything without Deshaun. They needed Deshaun. You know, Chip killed us without Deshaun. I get it. Like, we want Deshaun back. But there are people. That is an example. You can go to the NFL draft and identify guys who can run straight down the field and track footballs. It doesn't mean that they're going to put up historic numbers of tracking balls like Deshaun or Jerry Rice, but it sure as hell means you can find somebody better than what you have right now.
Well, how about Ward being activated, called up from the practice squad, and he actually made a couple plays.
He did.
Ahead of Mac Hollins. Was he even on the field yesterday?
I don't even think he was up. I don't know.
I mean, was he active? I don't even remember seeing him.
I don't remember.
I know he didn't show up, and I don't even think he was targeted. Did he play?
I don't know. I don't understand what's going on. Like, Dan from Tuckerton has sent this text in now a couple of days in a row. And Dan, we can't stop what we're doing. We honor, I think, a pretty good Philadelphia football tradition by chatting, and it's a fortunate opportunity we have to chat with the head coach of Temple football, who's brand new, and a lot of people listening from Cape May to Exton have either went to Temple or have family with Temple. So I get, like, that's a little bit of a departure from Eagles, but it's relevant and it's something to pay off people across the listening audience. We can't stop and talk about paying college athletes. So we love you, Dan, and we appreciate. I just don't want you to keep texting the same thing over and over and over.
What's the text about? Asking a question about paying athletes?
No, he's got a pretty interesting theory about paying college athletes and all, but it's something that we just can't get into.
Yeah.
You guys should poll the question: would you trade Wentz for Nick Foles back? I would. Nick from Brigantine. Nick, I wouldn't insult you or anybody else like that.
This is not about Nick Foles.
No,
it's not.
Ooh.
I mean, you know, that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Okay.
You cannot return with that.
And I don't know how Nick Foles would have played yesterday in that weather either.
No. I know he didn't play well for 3 quarters.
I can't sit here and say that the results would have been really all that different as far as win and loss.
I can tell you this: would he have had Leonard Fournette yesterday against the Seahawks? Because if not, I wouldn't trust him either.
Yeah.
They really needed Fournette yesterday. My God, to come back.
Now this Malik Turner guy.
Are you checking up? Are you doing some Turner research?
Yeah, he was an undrafted free agent. How about that? An undrafted free agent made that play.
Say John Schneider wins again, man.
How about that?
They're pretty good at mining some talent. Look at Metcalf. I know that there was an injury concern, but you took a risk on him. That is crazy that he was an undrafted. That's like a Patriots level mine.
I know. He played college at Illinois. I never heard of him.
No.
I never heard of him. He doesn't have a lot of catches. That was his first touchdown. But it was a pretty impressive play.
It was. But that's the thing, is you're taking advantage of a better secondary now, so you're trying to get over. Lockett was non-existent.
Yeah, right. They took him out.
They did. He got hurt a little bit.
Yeah. He got hurt against the Niners too.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Right, and they had a bye, and it was kind of like expected that he would come back. Oh no, they had the Bucks, right?
No,
it was the Bucks Niners bye.
They had the Niners and then the bye and then the Eagles.
Right.
But there's, he's not 100%, but still, if you're going to say, he suited up and he played, if you're going to say you're going to hold him to one catch, you're going to feel pretty good about that, right?
I would feel pretty good about that, but I would follow it up with, okay, how's Metcalf doing? Because we've seen games.
He had a couple drops.
Well, that's the thing, that was, I think, the most surprising. Mm-hmm. All right, Mike in Turnersville. Carson was horrible the last 2 weeks for sure, but this is just atrocious. And he sends a screen cap of something Ruben Frank tweeted. Most catches of 29 yards or more by Eagles wide receivers this year. 2. 3 guys tied at the top for 2. JJ, Deshaun, Alshon. Nelson has 1. Guess how many Mac Hollins has? 0.
Say the thing again. What? 29 yards or more?
Most catches of 29 yards or more by Eagles wide receivers this year.
So they
have to be dead last.
How many are there total? Catches of 29 yards or more.
2, 4, 6, 7.
7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Larry Toth. Your thoughts on Larry Toth?
I have no idea what you're talking about. What?
Who's Larry Toth?
I have no idea. Why are you even reading that?
It says text board. We read all the text.
Well, if you don't recognize what I don't know.
I thought you might know the guy.
No. Larry Toth.
Yeah, I don't
Never
know.
heard of him.
Deion Sanders was saying yesterday, Wentz's Andy Dalton 2.0, where he had some national buzz the first few years, had his name discussed once for MVP, then fell off.
I tell you.
I don't think you could make the argument that Andy Dalton ever had the year that Carson Wentz did in 2017.
No, and you also can't make that declarative statement yet, because we got to come back next year. It's going to take till next year until they have an uninjured, a Deshaun Jackson, because I don't think he's coming back. Even if they make the playoffs, you got Alshon's probably going to have this ankle issue the rest of the season. You know what I mean? They'll move on from Nelson Aguilar. Maybe they move on from Alshon. I don't know if they can or what.
No, I think they will. I think they're definitely trending towards moving on from Alshon Jeffrey. I would bet at this point that Moneyline Northeastern game, I'd double down on that. Speaking of which,
now is he saying that he will turn into Andy Dalton, or he already is Andy Dalton?
That he's turning into.
Well, if this continues, yes.
I think he's trending.
Yeah,
but
it is.
I don't know if it's a heavy trend right now. And again, Andy Dalton didn't have great coaching around him either.
Well, he had consistent coaching. He had the same head coach for practically his whole career, didn't he?
Yes, but they bounced around with coordinators and stuff too. That's how you keep your job 50 years in the same spot.
Keep firing the coordinators.
Exactly right.
Well, that's what Doug's going to do this
And
off season.
In this case, I think it's the right move to make.
Yeah.
All right, Tom from the Villas. Outside of the continuing joke that is Carson Wentz, when you're down 17-3 and you intercept the ball, you don't need to stroll to the end zone in triumph for a celebratory photo because you did your job. And Big V getting manhandled by a one-handed man is sad.
I agree. That Griffin kid, he plays his rear end off.
Yeah, he does.
The kid from UCF,
Shaq.
Yes. He plays his ass off.
He's amazing to watch, man. And it's just, you don't even know or see, right? Because remember, Jim Abbott, there are guys who have, and it's just impossible because of how smooth and seamless he was able to take his mitt from the hand which he didn't have a physical hand on, but it was a constant reminder of what he was overcoming. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when you're watching Shaq out there on the field,
you have to really look for the no hand.
Right,
you're like,
exactly right.
Oh yeah, I only see one.
There's no sport like that where you just can blend in and overcome so much.
Now I wonder how many catches Josh Gordon would have had if he was in an Eagle uniform yesterday. He only had one catch.
How many snaps was he out there?
I don't know. He was only targeted twice. Right. He got one catch for 10 yards.
I think that's more like emergency situation. And it wasn't even an emergency yesterday because they were going up against the Eagles. Rick and EHT, I know the Dolphins are horrible, but I need you guys to explain to me how the Eagles are a 9-point favorite in Miami this Sunday. Hey, I jumped in as soon as I saw that thing open up yesterday, Harry, at 7.5.
9's too high.
I jumped in at 7.5 because I knew it would go and raise and raise. There's another game I jumped in too. Not yours, not mine, not Manish Mehta's, but our New York Jets.
Oh yeah?
That line is moving by the minute.
That was one good call of mine over the past weekend.
Hey, listen, I played the Sam Darnold stack in DFS. Darnold, Bell, that won me some money. Crowder didn't do much, but still. 89% of the bets so far on the Jets. It's already moved a half a point. It's going to move even more by the time this show is done. Yeah. Eagles opened up at 7.5.
7.5, and now they're at 9 at the West End.
That's way too high. I tell you what, if it gets to 10, you start pounding the Dolphins.
We might have to pound the Dolphins right now.
Boy, I pounded the Niners last night after listening to our guy PGF on the Bruno show.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So many of the great Philly football fans have joined me and Eitan in our home team. That's Parks Casino and Sportsbooks. Parks has you covered for sports betting online with the Sportsbook app, which is fantastic. I was pounding that thing yesterday in-game or in person at the beautiful Sportsbook where you can see us each and every Friday. Now, Thanksgiving Day triple headers coming up, including Dallas hosting Buffalo as a 7-point favorite. The Birds are looking to bounce back from 2 ugly losses. As you said, they opened as a 7.5-point favorite. It's bet up to 9 at Miami. And this is a big-time must-win for the Eagles. And it's rivalry weekend in college football. Temple's a 28.5-point favorite over UConn. Penn State hosting Rutgers looking to bounce back. And they're laying close to 40 points. Download the app in the App Store or click parkscasino.com/PA. Use the promo code SWEEP for up to a $500 risk-free bet. Must be 21 and in PA. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You're listening to the Maze and Eitan Show, presented by Dry Guys of South Jersey. Go to dryguysonair.com and get the help you need with your wet basement.
dryguysonair.com.
Coming up on the next edition of the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Coming up, we'll look back at the Eagles and Seahawks. We'll have breaks and grades at 2:30. Football at 4 with Johnny Mack. And NFL insider Casey Joyner gives us one thought on every Week 12 game at 5:15. Plus, we'll look back at the Sixers and the big college football weekend.
The Sports Bash, weekdays from 2 to 6 on 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's sports leader.
Are you tired of the same old, looking for an exciting new experience? Come join our friends at Bury the Hatchet. Take part in one of the fastest growing sports in the nation, axe throwing. Feel the thrill of axe throwing. And get your friends and family in one of our 14 BYOB indoor facilities. Our axe masters will teach everyone how to stick it and keep your party moving with a variety of games like you've never experienced before. Birthday, bachelor, bachelorette party, corporate event, or just want a great time out with your friends, Bury the Hatchet will give you a night you'll never forget. Winter leagues are forming now.
The Eagles in the first half. You know what their yards per play was?
In the
first half.
God damn it, man!
In your backyard in
I knew you were chewing something you shouldn't be.
Plus Philadelphia, then Salem.
Get out of here.
And King of Prussia. Use our promo code HARRY50 for 50% off. Your first 2 hours will be 50% off.
What do you
Just
do
use
now?
our promo code
clip
HARRY50.
for the,
Bury the
green
Hatchet.
screen.
Go to burythehatchet.com.
Welcome to 2 Street and welcome to Tollman Joe's. Tollman Joe's in the heart of South Philly.
Mask it with this fucking thing.
Game day and your spot for free.
How much time we got left?
Eagles game day. Get to Tollman Joe's 3 hours before kickoff. 26 East Oregon Avenue. Hi, this is Tony Bruno. I'll see you on game day at Tollman Joe's.
You got 3 phones over here.
In the suburbs with a tremendous history of great success in the real estate market, meet Kristen Thompson. A proud graduate of Villanova, Kristen has been in the real estate business for 20 years and specializes in buyers, sellers, and investors. You can call Kristen directly at the Keller Williams Realty Group, 215-429-2451, 215-429-2451. Kristen Thompson, your real estate advocate who will work tirelessly on your behalf while ensuring the sale or the purchase is the easiest part of the process.
If you're a golfer looking to pick up a few strokes on the golf course, you should add these 4 words into your training and lifestyle. Traditional, Thai, yoga, massage. A Thai massage is relaxing and energizing without oil and designed to increase your flexibility. Try it now. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including a better score.
What's this?
Call Asan Thai Massage right now. 215-663-9376. 215-663-9376. Asan Thai Massage. They aim to heal.
This season, the Eagles pregame starts at Dunkin'. DD Perks members score a $1 medium hot or iced coffee on Eagles game day. So don't just celebrate the Eagles from the sidelines. Head to Dunkin' and get a kick before the kickoff.
Killing me, man.
DD
You know
Perks
that?
members get a $1 medium hot or iced coffee the day after every Eagles
Where's your
game
phone?
this season. Just use your Perks and
Where's your
Roll
phone?
Dunkin' card or show your loyalty ID. Eagles fans run on Dunkin'. Excludes cold brew. Limit 1 per guest per visit. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Here's a message for contractors and business owners concerned about the bottom line. Make sure your commercial insurance coverage is right. Call Lighthouse Commercial Insurance. They can help. Let Lighthouse put together a comprehensive plan that is right for you for the right money. With 25 years of experience in the Philadelphia market, they know the most reputable and the most aggressive carriers. Give my friend Kevin a call at 800-691-1686 or visit them online today at www.lighthouseins.biz.
There are so many choices when it comes to selecting the right financial institution. Start with the Philadelphia Federal Credit Union. We're right here in your city. We're also the official credit union of Temple University, and anyone who lives, works, worships, and studies in Philadelphia can open an account. With convenient locations throughout our city of brotherly love. Also online at pfcu.com with free online and mobile banking. We're not here for our profit, here for yours. Federally insured by NCUA.
Davio's Northern Italian Steakhouse is located on the 2nd floor of the historic Provident Bank Building in the heart of Philadelphia, near Rittenhouse. At Davio's, it's all about the guest. Davio's offers private dining rooms available for large and small groups. Gracious hospitality and an attendant dining room staff provide every guest an exceptional experience. At Davio's, it's all about the guest. Join us for a power lunch, happy hour, or Sunday brunch. At Davio's, it's all about the guest.
Shop Kohl's.com for Black Friday deals Monday through Friday. Plus, get $15 Kohl's cash for every $50 spent. Plus, take an extra 15% off. Boots for her are just $16.99. Throws only $7.64. Get $20 and under toys and much more. Shop Kohl's.com for Black Friday deals all week long. And stores open Thursday at 5 p.m. Kohl's.
I got a good guy. He's the PLG of Miami.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's actually he's good. He's funny. We can have a lot of fun with him this week if we want. Scoop B hit me up. Wednesday? Okay.
When you purchase a pair of Bosch Focus or Trico
Tell me
Titan
I'll
fiber
book 'em
blades,
right now.
we'll even install them for free. Plus, you'll earn double O rewards points. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. O'Reilly Auto Parts. This is Joe Krause of Krause's Coats inviting you to donate a slightly worn coat or jacket and help kids in need stay warm this winter. Go to Krause's Coats Facebook page. Happy holidays.
You're listening to Mays and Aton with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
You know, sometimes you just need to see it. You've been saying it, you've been talking about it, but you just need to see it in order to get this realization that you're not alone, right? And I can't be the only one that got their ass kicked today on Northeastern.
I think you might be.
I can't be
alone.
No, I'm talking about Carson Wentz. So we put the tweet out at Shander Show. I do tag you as well.
Okay.
97.3 ESPN. And I'm going to read you the one tweet that I think made me realize what I want, what this person wants, what you want, because I know you brought it up in an interview we had last week, and even credited me for mentioning it for the past 2 weeks. Victor Williams tweets this in response to the question of how would you fix Carson Wentz moving forward? At the Philly Pod. Tailor the offense to his mobility and stop trying to make him a pocket passer. Look, it's gotten to the point, Harry, and I said this on the show the past 2 weeks. At this point, it's no longer not wanting to do it, meaning the coaching staff. It's basic negligence of the man's best skill set. The coaches are actively trying to prevent Carson Wentz from moving around because they're afraid he's going to get hurt.
Yeah, but he's never going to be a Lamar Jackson kind of quarterback with his mobility. He's got mobility.
Nobody's going to be Lamar.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But those are the kind of guys that really always, utilize their legs. You know what I mean? Like Wentz isn't that kind of runner.
Okay, I think that when you look at the ceiling for who Carson Wentz can be, it's Russell Wilson. It's being able to look. Russell Wilson is a mobile quarterback.
I kind of compared him to Andrew Luck before. He was kind of an Andrew Luck kind of build. Okay, and Andrew Luck would run every once in a while.
Ran a lot, though.
Yeah, and look where he is now. He's out of football because he kept getting banged up.
But there are other quarterbacks that move. That's why I use Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers is another one. Rodgers gets hurt a little bit, but still.
But Russell Wilson has an uncanny ability to not get hit. He's unbelievable when he's on the move. And he gets out of bounds and he slides and all. But Wentz likes to slide forward.
He does go head first. And he's not alone. But that's not, I can't say, guys are there telling him to slide feet first. He's going head first. He can't be coached. He's uncoachable. Right. He's not listening to people.
Michael Vick never wanted to slide either because he was afraid of getting his foot caught in the turf or the grass and breaking his ankle or whatever.
I think you see a lot of, or multiple examples. Carson Wentz may not be as fast in a dead sprint as Russell Wilson, but he's closer to that level of speed if you can get out there. He's shifty as well. And we've seen too many examples of Carson Wentz shaking one or two defenders and extending a play either with his feet or opening
he does it like Roethlisberger.
Yeah,
kinda.
But I think he's more athletic than Roethlisberger, even though Roethlisberger was just tough to bring down.
Yeah, he's just like a bull.
But if you want to compare Andrew Luck, I don't know if he has the cannon that Luck does. I think I'm comfortable with Wentz throwing down the field, but I think honestly, man, Wentz is a better thrower on the run than Luck was. Look at some of these throws you've seen Carson Wentz make. He's running to his right, Harry. Yeah. He's throwing the ball. It looks like the ball is just moving straight, even though his momentum is right, and he's throwing left, and it's a perfect pass.
Speaking of that, moving left and throwing right, did you see the play that Darnold made yesterday?
Yes.
Moving to his left.
Manish put it up there.
Yes, and he caught Robbie Anderson coming across, up the middle of the field. It was an unbelievable throw.
Right. That was something that we haven't seen from Wentz in like a year and a half. No, earlier this year he had a really nice one, but yeah, that was. I didn't think Sam Darnold had it left in him.
Now,
after being beaten down by Adam Gase.
They've won 3 in a row now.
Yeah, it's amazing when you actually cater an offense to your talent. Now, look, Darnold's healthy, Bell is healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That defense was always there.
Yeah.
But they've got a couple of wide receivers that are decent.
Could have had Robbie Anderson here, too. He was undrafted.
He was.
They got to look at him for a couple years at Temple.
Yep.
And he goes undrafted. Could have had him.
Could have had him at the trade deadline.
Well, maybe. I don't know that for a fact. Do we know that for a fact?
He took off all of the Jet stuff on his social media.
Yeah, we know he doesn't acknowledge that he even went to Temple either.
Is that right? But I don't acknowledge that I went to Gettysburg.
Oh, you don't?
No.
We've talked about Gettysburg.
Yeah, but I don't publicly acknowledge like he would be.
I acknowledge that I started at Shippensburg.
And you finished at Temple.
Yeah.
Well, that's a hell of a transition.
I
mean, that's like starting at South Florida or Alabama and finishing off at Alabama.
Matt Rule might have saved his life by getting him back into school, because he was out for a little while. He went back to Florida.
Yeah, and he brought him back to Temple.
And he got him back in. Now he's in the NFL.
There's something to that. All right, 609-403-0973 is the text board. Let's get more text up here. Hollins definitely played, but only had a few snaps. He was the player that was held that canceled Wentz's second fumble. Who holds Mac Hollins? Chris. That's true, right?
Oh, was that?
That's a great
Was
point.
it Hollins?
Yes, it was. It negated
Yeah.
Wentz's second fumble, and Chris is so right. Like, why would you ever be in a position where you need
It was
to
Griffin.
hold?
Griffin did that.
Did he?
I think it was the penalty was on Griffin, because I had it in my the notes. Negated another Wentz fumble on the Ziggy Ansah sack.
Okay, so that shows you that Griffin was probably like, dude, nobody's even looking at this guy.
Yeah, right. The officials included. Right, I'll get away with this hold
right.
here.
Exactly right. I'm surprised Hollins doesn't get that stuff called on him more.
Yeah, good
just
point.
because some defender's probably thinking that if I could take a play off, it's going up against Mac Hollins.
I forgot that was Hollins, because I swear to God I didn't notice him all day.
No. Listening to the show over the 97.3 ESPN website online stream, it sounds like Eitan is shouting and Harry is whispering.
What?
What is going on back there? Doesn't
Really?
sound like that to me.
Josh has got a keen ear for audio. Now, Josh would let us know if that was the case, right?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he's not listening now.
Harry, your mic is a little low.
It is? Okay, well, where was that?
Well, half the time that we tell you guys this stuff, we get yelled at, so...
Well, so what?
What? What are you talking about?
Who cares?
What do you mean you get yelled at?
Well, just every time we mention the microphones, it's an issue. You bring it up on the air sometimes, too.
Okay, well, how about all the times that we call for you and you don't respond? Or a guest drops and you don't respond? I mean, we can bring a lot of stuff on the air if you like.
You mean when the guest drops, I'm trying to get them back on the
Yeah, and you don't do what a producer should do is say, hey, the guest dropped, give it a sec. And we're like, hey, is Kevin here? Is Kevin here?
I do tell you that.
No, you don't! We have it on film! It's caught on the stream! We record everything!
Okay, so
Come on, man! Dead to rights!
So now it's my fault that anything
Dead to
goes
rights,
wrong,
we got you,
anything
man!
goes wrong is my fault.
Wentz needs a quarterback coach, and the offense
Okay,
needs
so
to
they're
run the
wrong.
ball. Doug, it's simple. I think we're paying for this time, all right? Doug, it's simple. Run the ball. Carson is doing the simple things wrong, like not going to the check down. So I think that a good quarterback coach would stress that Carson put the ball in your playmaker's hands is taking the check down.
He does hold on to the ball too long in a lot of instances.
Right.
Yeah. Baldy had a brilliant thing where he broke down 6 plays, 6 third down opportunities that they failed on. And I retweeted it. You can see it at Harry Mays TV.
6?
It's real 6. Yeah. And he cuts through each of the film and describes what went wrong.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I mean, it's not all on Wentz. It's not all on Wentz. It's
a lot on him.
Yeah, but the offensive line, some of the receivers, I mean, it's a mess. And the thing is that they could come and beat Miami next week, and it's not going to show us one thing.
No.
You know what I mean?
No. I wonder if they don't cover, if people will treat that as a loss. We can get into that a little bit later in the week.
Yeah.
This is, Reaction Monday here.
No, but I'm just saying, like, what is next week going to really show us? Because you'd be like, okay, yeah, they won, but it was Miami.
Right.
Right?
Right. Nothing. Unless you beat them by 14. I don't know if it's going. Okay, it'll continue the belief that they'll win out.
Well, right, it gives you a chance.
Right.
I get that, but I'm saying, like, what if they what if they win by 3 scores, 3 touchdowns, beat them down? Is that really going to show you anything?
I think that it's going to revive confidence, man. And I don't know how good or valuable that is to have that revived confidence. But
Maybe for them, is that going to give confidence to the fan base?
yeah,
You think
that's
so?
what I'm thinking. Is that there's going to be a lot of people out there that will look at that and say, yeah, this team is back. It's only guys are going to come back. They're going to look at these 2-win teams that they're facing. I think that there's a victory away from Miami in order for that to be the case.
I didn't get to see any of the Giant game yesterday. Lost to Trubisky. But, I mean,
They did cover it in the end.
We'll have Matt Lombardo on tomorrow. He was out there, obviously, covering the team for NJ.com. But, I mean, like, did they... I hear that, like, they're worried about Saquon Barkley now.
Yeah, well, remember, we asked him last week.
Yeah, well, I thought they might shut him down.
Apparently, they're not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess just because to help out, right?
But, I mean, the reason I'm even asking about it is because they got 2 games against those Giants that they're supposed to win. I mean, can we look at that as a lock? I can't right now. Going to New York and winning. Is that a lock?
No, it's not a lock because they're going to try, and I think they're going to throw, and they're going to try to put up points.
Mm-hmm.
So your offense is going to be tested. The lock, I think, right now is Washington because I don't trust their offense to keep up with even this bad of an offense.
Now, they got a win yesterday. They came back from, I think they were down, they won 19-16.
Driscoll played
They had
awful.
2 field goals in the fourth quarter late that Haskins drove them down the field a couple times for field goals to win. So maybe they get a little confidence.
I don't know.
But the fan base is bailed on that team.
Confidence on that?
There'll be Eagle fans all over FedEx Field for that game.
All right, listen to this text. Everybody wanted 1 Super Bowl and would have traded it for 10 years of garbage. Well, here you go.
Here we go.
The new norm.
Yes.
Is this the new norm?
Oh, man, that's a great text. Is that a text or a tweet?
I don't know. Oh, that was a text.
Oh, that's a good
609-403.
Yeah, you make a deal with the devil, man. Give me this Super Bowl. I'll take 10 years of Drek. Is that what we're in?
Mm-hmm.
We're in, what, year 2 of the Drek?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Year 2.
God.
Is that it? Is it really year 2? Now that's worse than being in year 2 of a Bryce Harper contract that won't pay off.
It
That's
is.
13 years.
It is.
All right, we'll
Back
wrap
into this.
Listen to Mays and Anton.
Anywhere.
Okay, I'm good with it. Download the
Putting them out?
97.3 ESPN mobile app now. 97.3ESPN.com/app. It's the Monday night countdown to kickoff. This and every Monday night with Mr. Monday Night, Tony Bruno.
Mr. Monday Night is here.
From 6 to 8 p.m. Live from the landmark Americana in Glassboro.
I'm excited for it. I'm ready for it.
On 97.3 ESPN, 6 to 8 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Let's play some damn football.
It's the Monday Night Football Countdown to Kickoff on 97.3 ESPN.
I am so ready for football season. Are you? You better be college with a huge day on Saturday, pro football on Sunday. Make sure you bet with the best. My guys at the #1 casino in Pennsylvania, Parks Casino and Sportsbook. My guys at Parks Casino and Sportsbook have it all in person or online. Download the Parks Casino Sportsbook app right now in the App Store. Go to parkscasino.com/PA. Use promo code SWEEP, SWEEP, SWEEP to get a risk-free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit. ParksCasino.com/PA. Again, PARX Casino.com/PA and use promo code SWEEP to get your risk-free bet of up to $250. Parks Casino and Sportsbook. My guys, they should be the guys you trust as well. Place all your favorite sports bets, point spreads, money lines, even line, in-game betting. Sign up now, get a risk-free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit. Promo code SWEEP. Get your risk-free bet of up to $250. Risk-free bet is refunded on the loss as a free bet. You must be in Pennsylvania. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's human nature to care for one another. It can be as simple as sharing an umbrella, holding the door, or lending a hand. At Independence Blue Cross, we've been doing our part too for the last 80 years, providing access to the largest network of doctors and hospitals, as well as offering nurse health coaches and gym reimbursements. Because we believe there's caring in all of us. Independence Blue Cross. Learn more at ibx.com.
Davio's Northern Italian Steakhouse is located on the second floor of the historic Provident Bank Building in the heart of Philadelphia, near Rittenhouse. At Davio's, it's all about the guest. Davio's offers private dining rooms available for large and small groups. Gracious hospitality and an attentive dining room staff provide every guest an exceptional experience. At Davio's, it's all about the guest. Join us for a power lunch, happy hour, or Sunday brunch. At Davio's, it's all about the guest.
IsanThaiMassage.com. Traditional Thai yoga massage. Deep tissue massage reaches deeper layers of muscles. It's used to break down knots and relieve pressure points throughout the body. This massage is beneficial for athletes, those who sit or stand for long periods of time, people with multiple sclerosis, sciatica, rotor cuff issues, and many other muscle-related discomfort or problems. Call ISSAN-ThaiMassage.com 215-663-9376, where their motto is, we aim to heal.
Derailed Insurance wants to save you 40% on your car insurance right now, and they will do it today. Here's managing partner Jim Yulbrunner.
A lot of people pay a lot more premium than they need to, and they may not have the coverage to justify what they're paying.
There's no charge for the complimentary insurance review. You will save money, and you will connect with a company that is an advocate, not a broker. Go to dvigi.com or simply call Jim at 215-354-0122. That's 215-354-0122.
I've met clients that think that I am an independent agent, charge a fee versus going direct to Geico or going direct to Progressive. We do not charge a fee.
Let Del Val Insurance save you up to 40% on your car insurance. Get your complimentary review. Call Jim Yulbrunner directly at 215-354-0122. 215-354-0122. Your savings are a phone call away.
This football season, get to Screwball Sports Bar and Grill in King of Prussia, voted one of the 10 best sports bars in Pennsylvania. It's college game day, football Sunday, plus Monday Night Football, and a special live NFL Countdown to Kickoff show with the Tony Bruno Show every Thursday starting at 6 p.m. Get the daily specials on Facebook and find your way to Screwball Sports Bar and Grill in King of Prussia. Screwballs, where sports people go to watch the game.
Think of all the things you could do for those you love if you won the $226 million Mega Millions jackpot. Like fly your entire family to a villa in the south of France. And maybe throw in a separate chateau for the in-laws. So take a chance on Mega Millions. After all, anything can happen in Jersey.
So you think you have unlimited data?
Recalculating.
Think again. If you have unlimited data on a network you can't trust, your data is limited, and so are you. Set your smartphone free with the new unlimited plans from Total Wireless. Get 4 lines with unlimited data on the nation's best 4G LTE network with 100 gigabytes at high speed, then 2G for just $25 a month per line.
You have arrived at your destination.
Get the new unlimited plans. Total Wireless. Total confidence. Available at Target. See terms and conditions at TotalWireless.com.
A new law helps survivors of childhood sexual abuse take legal action. Jeff
Scoop
Anderson
B
and
hit me
Associates and attorney Greg Gianfrocaro can help.
Camden Monarchs.
Visit itstimenojersey.com or call
And we wanted to
confidentially
have
today
their
at
star player and
1-800-8-TIME.
coach come on for like
80 South Main
5-6
Street, Phillipsburg,
minutes.
New Jersey,
Talk about
08865.
what
This is Joe Krause of Krause's Coats, inviting you to donate a slightly worn coat or
Tuesday morning,
jacket.
Wednesday,
Help
sneaking
veterans
in.
in need stay warm this winter. Go to Krause's
got
Coats
Lavo
on
at
Facebook.
1.
Join Martin Law, the law firm for workers, to help those who serve.
Get him in for like
Happy
5-6
holidays.
minutes.
This is Mays and Aton with Harry Mays and Aton Shander on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
How to fix Carson, install the same offense he ran when Nick Foles was the quarterback. The scheme worked, so keep it. Is it that simple?
Well, don't they? Yeah, they still run some of those RPOs with Wentz.
Yeah.
They seem to be working like great.
No, I don't know what's going on, man. You know, the easiest subtraction here are the people that are no longer here, but even that gets old, just banging that same drum about Reich and DiFilippo. They're gone. You're not going to get them back.
No.
But you need to do something. And this falls into, and I saw Gil, who's coming up next, tweet this about his reaction is going to be contrary to what people are going to expect, and, you know, paraphrasing it, of course. And
I'm led to believe that he's going to be more, the ship is fine, like more Doug Peterson. Don't turn the football over. And I'm not speaking for him, I'm just guessing. Here's the problem, I think, with the mentality of subscribing to they're going to win out, or that it's not as bad as it seems, or looking at the count anywhere outside of Philadelphia, including Dallas, and feeling better about your situation because somebody else's situation isn't that good, is there's still the fundamental issue of the people that are preparing this team and trying to work with them Monday through Saturday. And I don't know how there's enough confidence on the coaching staff to say they're going to win out. They're going to win out without a doubt.
Yeah, because they did it before. I think that's where you go back to. They rallied at the end of the season, but it wasn't with this quarterback.
And it wasn't nearly as bad as it was this year. It's gotten worse this year.
Yeah.
We're talking about historic lows for the Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver position.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. Now, you brought up Dallas. How about that move last night with about 6+ minutes to go in the game? Jason Garrett opts to kick the field goal to draw within 4 rather than 4th. I know it was 7 yards, but I mean, at some point, you're going to need a touchdown, right?
The only thing I could think of was the main. What did it close at? Do you remember?
What do you mean close? 13-9 was the final.
I know, but it closed as a 5.5 point line.
Are you talking about gambling? I'm not talking about gambling.
Look, man, I took it in game. All right.
I took the under.
And it was 5. Well, the under hit.
Yeah.
But it was 5.5 in game, and that field goal made no sense outside of anything in game. Like there was no other. Their defense wasn't playing well enough at all. You're right. At that point, the desperation factor should have played in.
No, their defense was playing well.
Well, I'm saying the Patriots. I thought that it wasn't so much the Patriots. Like you should have not just gave in to the fact that you weren't able to put up points and move. I thought the weather did a lot of it.
Well, yeah, it did, and field position and all that.
Not the
kind of
Cowboys,
stuff.
I'm sorry, Patriots.
But the Patriots only scored a touchdown on the possession where they got the blocked punt.
Right.
I mean, they were just it was
It's
put
2
on
weeks
team
in a row.
for 'em. Yeah.
2 weeks in a row.
Unbelievable. But did you? Speaking of Dallas, and this is what I wanted to get to before the end of the show. Ian Rappaport comes out this weekend saying that the Giants would have interest in Jason Garrett if he were to be fired in Dallas. And I'm like, oh, you're breaking that? We had Matt Lombardo broke that on our show last Tuesday.
Did you quote that tweet and respond?
I responded.
Lombo already hit us up.
Yeah, Lombo bomb. That was last Tuesday.
We're going to have to bring that to his attention.
Oh, he knows.
Does he?
Oh, yeah.
Did you already dime out rap sheet?
Yes.
And say, what is this nonsense? Now, if you're Lombardo, do you respond and say, hey, that was my story?
No, he did not do that.
Why are you stealing my bit?
He just sent me a text.
Lombo did?
Saying that she should have been aware of the Lombo bomb.
Now, what is a Lombo bomb? I know what a Woj bomb is.
Well, it's the same thing. It's just Lombo's version.
Is that right?
That's what we call it.
Well, that's infringement.
It's just
right. Can't he have his own form of explosion?
A Lombo
frag grenade? Yeah,
Lombo
something
grenade.
different, right?
Yeah.
I would think so, right?
Yeah. And how about Rutgers over the weekend? And Schiano couldn't come to an agreement. The AD
wasn't enough money, huh?
Well, I mean, no, he was asking for I think $4 million. Was it $4 million a year?
Yeah, he said he wanted more.
Well, he wanted it more guaranteed, I believe. Like he wanted 8 years, okay, and then a certain portion of that guaranteed, which is kind of in line with everybody else.
Right.
I mean, the money really wasn't anything out of the ordinary. He wanted access to a jet too. I mean, that's what coaches in the Big Ten get that.
That is. Now, Colin Thompson's going to be hosting with Mike Gilbert.
Yeah, he's sitting in for Mosher, I believe, this week.
All right, so to your point about that, and now looking at this news that just came out, I wonder...
What news?
Well, Josh Johnson, remember that quarterback?
Yes.
He's now in the XFL.
I think he went to the University of San Diego.
That's
that
a good
guy,
pull.
I think.
Not San Diego State, where Marshall Faulk.
No.
Lions had interest in signing... Oh, no, was that LT that went there?
No.
Falk?
LT
no, what running back
went to Texas Christian.
Who went to San Diego State?
Marshall Faulk
That's
went
right.
to San
Okay,
Diego
so I had it
State.
right.
Yeah.
Lions had interest in signing quarterback Josh Johnson, but XFL blocked them, per source.
Is that right?
Now, I hope I don't find any reason to go down to the XFL front office and kick a door in and say that the LA Rams or Chicago Bears wanted to rekindle
Colin Thompson,
yes,
and they were blocked.
and
by
they
the
were
Vipers.
blocked because then somebody's going to have to block a fist from me down at the XFL front office. I'm going to demand, as a stockholder for the senior operator in the WWE, I demand answers. That's a pretty big risk you take, though.
I mean, that's a pretty big deal that the XFL can do that.
Well, that's what they worked in order to prevent it from being this immediate feeder league.
Well, yeah, where they just get raided.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of that, did you see the story? Perfect thing to end on. I'm just going to read you the headline. I'll give you a little background to this. 82-year-old grandmother sends man to hospital after break-in.
After break-in?
Yes.
I thought you were going to say after sex.
No. 82 years old? I mean, I think at that point you're on some sort of fetish tab. 82-year-old Willie Murphy. She was
not Charlie Murphy.
No, not Charlie Murphy. He's no longer with her.
Yeah.
When a young drunk man tried to break into her home in Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
She's an award-winning weightlifter.
Oh, okay.
She picked up a table to beat the man with. The intruder fell to the floor. Murphy says she jumped on him, causing him to need medical attention.
Wow.
She lifts weights daily, says she, quote, did a number on the man and won't be pressing charges.
Wow.
That's like cutting off the guy's head in Apocalypse Now and just leaving it out there for everybody to see. Don't mess with this. Don't mess with Marlon Brando.
See, now that woman needs to make the rounds on the late-night TV shows.
I agree.
Right?
She's a hero.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to kind of make you feel better about what you just saw.
Wow. All right, tomorrow we got Matt Lombardo, right?
Yep.
At 1 o'clock. Talk Giants and NFC East, NFL, football in general. And then Wednesday, we're going to be out and about at Bury the Hatchet in Horsham.
Correct.
So come on out and see us. Sports Bash with Colin Thompson coming up next.
2, 1. Hang promo.
The Maze and Aton Show.
Whenever you're ready.
I'll just do Lombo.
Coming up on a Tuesday edition of the Maze and Aton Show, more fallout from the Eagles' brutal loss to the Seahawks.
And we'll talk Giants, NFC East, and all around the NFL with Matt Lombardo of NJ.com at 1 o'clock.
Maze and Aton, 97.3 ESPN or the 97.3 ESPN app.
Got it, thank you.
Beautiful.
Screw that guy.
Huh?
Fucking idiot. The mic's off for an hour and a half, and you didn't know.
Yeah, but I mean, since you yelled at us, it's toughen up.